Actually hit a target.
Not bad at the bloke's legs quite severely.
And still the handgunners keep up the harassing fire against the artillery pieces from the tower. Down the bottom of the field you can see more clearly now the Fitzgeralds are there fighting with Thomas Stanley's. There are casualties being taken on both sides there. Two very different fighting styles. You've got the organised raise of Thomas Stanley's men, the retained men, and you've got the Irish just piling in and killing any old cow, killing any old ware. It's what they were good at. Their armour, in most cases male there, somewhat more archaic than the armour being worn by my Lord Stanley's men. This isn't an anachronism, this actually is how it was. Ireland was somewhat cut off, and the fashions of armour were a long way behind the times. And it seems to be getting personal now. They're aiming, the handgun has just been told to aim for the man in the yellow hat. I don't know what the man in the yellow hat's done, but I wouldn't like to be him, frankly.
They're impressive, aren't they?
And the Irish now appear to be retreating up the field. My Lord Stanley's men holding a good, strong defensive line there. More arrows coming in to the Yorkists. Yorkists starting to look slightly crestfallen, slightly sorry for themselves.
Well, ideally, if you see it
Is the battle suddenly taking a direction? Is it getting a shape?
Show a load of grass in there as well.
My Lord Stanley's men also retreating down the field in good order.
Oh dear.
Not concerned about the Irish. Turn their backs on them.
Over the back. Oh well.
And Martin Schwartz's men again coming down the field. Their pikes held high. Coming straight into the armoured hedgehog that is the Oxfords. Archers racing across the field, chased off by the Yorkist centre, I believe. And they engage, one man straight away. Pikes bouncing off his armour.
That's an awfully big line between the two boundaries. And them. That's pretty low, isn't it?
In this arena, I think that's about normal.
And the archers, the handgunners, the large artillery pieces, all adding
The other one, I think, is
to the
less.
smells and the sounds of this terrible theatre of war.
The field of combat, the Knight Marshal for the Grand Medieval Joust, Mr. Rob Martin.
Or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our final joust of this tournament weekend. 2 heats of jousting every day, this being our 4th and final here. Now each of our competitors has had their wins and their losses, but if you weren't here earlier, I will once again introduce the knights onto the field so that you may know them and choose your favourite to cheer on through the contest as it develops. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, are you ready to meet the knights? We're working on that one. Are you ready to meet your knights? And in which case, the first onto the field is our challenger for the South in his red heraldry, Sir Steve Mallet, riding Donk. An excellent rider, well armed, and mounted on one of our newest horses to the lists, who's been performing beautifully in one of his opening competitions. But ladies and gentlemen, On occasions, a higher scorer night than others, he's a very worthwhile opponent to consider if you're going to support. And you're next, onto the field, is our challenger for the West. In his green heraldry, Jeffrey Hedgecock riding Cole.
Boo, 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 boo.
Now, if you were here for our earlier joust, you'll know that Jeffrey Hedgecock stole victory and clinched it with a clear 5-point margin in but one pass in the final of our last joust. An excellent jouster, ladies and gentlemen. He hails all the way from California. He's travelled a long way to compete here today, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you give him good applause. Now, next night onto the field is blue heraldry, our challenger for the North. Is Martin Smith riding the Contessa.
With an owl on his head.
Martin Smith's also been on good form this weekend and has plenty of wins to his credit. And Contessa is his own horse that he's trained him very self. So an excellent partnership there with the two. But then we have one more night yet to come to the field. And it's gold heraldry, our challenger for the East, Sean George riding Briar.
Spit out a row of budgies. Spit out a row of budgies.
The one thing you might obviously notice is that he has by far and away the heaviest and most bulky horse. So if power behind the lance with the weight of his horse behind it is wanted, then he may well be delivering some of the heftiest blows. So ladies and gentlemen, to remind you of our competitors in our joust, for the South will be passed up. They will attempt to ride with a barrier to separate them, safety in mind to prevent a head-on collision of knights. And once they're both armed and coordinated and prepared, they will turn and charge upon each other.
He hasn't got a stick. Give him a stick.
Of course, in the joust, if you are in range to strike your opponent, you will be struck as well. There's no avoiding it like in fencing. And they're away, ladies and gents, so give them a cheer.
Whoa!
Certainly, strikes are delivered. The heralds up the side will give you the results of their achievements. For Martin Smith of the North, a strike to his... Now, upon that pass, you will see that the gold deal, which of course required to protect them from those lances. Beautifully struck, ladies. Lances passed up to them. And excellent strikes once again. The forces are considerable. Struck lances again. An interesting run there, ladies and gentlemen. That pass that you have called for. Both arms, and they're away. Well, we certainly...
On both sides we can see the infantry debussing from their armoured personnel carriers, setting up their heavy weapons, mortars and machine guns. And now this is going to be a close range firefight where they must just get as much fire into the enemy position as they can, drive off the enemy, and then they can advance. This is the aim of both the Germans and the Americans. The Germans have a 37mm anti-tank gun. This could be bad news for the M3 half-tracks. American infantry now rushing forward, trying to take the ground, but the German firepower is proving to be too heavy. In fact, the Americans now withdrawing back behind cover. The Americans may have bitten off a bit more than they can chew here. We can hear the crackle of that M42 German machine gun on the Hanomag half-track. A deadly weapon. Deadly at 2,000 yards, in fact. German infantry now pushing forward. If they can clear these Americans out the way, they can then continue their retreat and get safely out of the Falaise pocket. Now the German commander here, the battle group commander, he will be on his radio, he will be giving information about the action that's taking place here. He will be calling for artillery support if he can receive it. And he will also be calling for air support if any were available. But the German Air Force has been almost completely destroyed and there are very few German aircraft now in the skies. But what is this? Look to the skies, ladies and gentlemen. There is an aircraft. Is it British? Is it American? Or is it German? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a turn-up for the books. This is a German aircraft of the Luftwaffe. It's not a fighter plane, it's not a bomber, it's an ME-108, which actually is a trainer aircraft. But the Germans are in such a bad state that they'll put any aircraft into the sky to fight. And a member of the Luftwaffe has managed to get through, and now he's giving ground support to his troops in their battle against the Americans. So the ME-108 has struck and it's now coming back in again. Look at that coming in now. Now this is not what the Americans were expecting. When they heard that engine noise in the sky of an aircraft, they were sure that must be one of their own or one of the Brits come to support them. But no, it is the Luftwaffe. The Luftwaffe are outnumbered 50-1 in the skies. But right now, today, on this battlefield, the Germans have air superiority. I'm not sure how much more of this the American troops can take. They certainly weren't expecting this. The American commander is on his radio now. He is calling desperately for artillery support or air support if it can be given.
That tree.
He doesn't mind if it's American or British. Just get some aircraft over me now. But the American commander has received good news over his radio. Air support is on its way. It's not American, it will be British. The RAF is coming to save the day. Right over our heads, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a Spitfire up in the air and we have an ME-108. Now the ME-108 is no match for the Spitfire. It's only a trainer aircraft. But what will the British pilot do now? Will he engage the German or will he strafe the German troops on the ground? Really, he should see off the German aircraft first. The British aircraft, the Spitfire now coming in, trying to get on the tail of the German. And he's on the tail. So the German troops on the ground, they had their morale raised because of the air cover, but now they're not so sure. There's a British fighter up there, and it's now right on the tail of the Messerschmitt, ladies and gentlemen. The German pilot is very brave. He knows that his aircraft is no match for the Spitfire. but still he flies. So in they come again. The ME-108 with the Spitfire on the tail. And what is this that I can see? Coming down from the north. The British have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a cheer for the Airborne Reconnaissance Unit. And the cheer, come on! And the Messerschmitt has now been hit and is now either down or trying to get home. Spitfire will now take advantage and start strafing the German position. But now the Germans are really in trouble. They're in the jaws of a pincer with the Americans to the south and the British to the north. Is now flown over the treetops trying to get away. The Spitfire now in command of the skies. And hopefully on the ground soon, the British and the American Army will be in control of this battlefield. And we can see the Spitfire now lining itself up to come in for a strafing run, but it may also already be too late. Some of the Germans are surrendering. The Spitfire comes over, ladies and gentlemen. Germans putting their hands up in the air. It's all over for them, they know. And the British now advancing, meeting up with their American allies. It's been a long time since they've seen each other, but now they will capture thousands and upon thousands of Germans in the Falaise pocket. Radio message has now been sent to the RAF liaison officer. The air attack can now cease. The Germans have surrendered. The British pilot once again flies over the battlefield just to observe the scene beneath him on the ground. The British and the Americans have now captured this entire German force. So let's give them a huge round of applause, please.